CNBC Africa's Wole Famurewa spoke to Abdoulaye Mar Dieye, Assistant Secretary General and Director, Regional Bureau for Africa at the United Nations Development Programme at the 11th Africa Economic Conference, and discussed the impact of globalization on the future of agriculture in Africa. Take a look.
Well, first, let me start by saying that Africa has been doing great lately. During the last 15 years, the continent has been growing on average 5% per year. In real terms, it is huge. But Africa is like a jumbo jet flying without its major engine, which is agriculture. And if we ignite that engine, we can double digit in terms of growth. This is a continent that can easily emerge with 10 to 12% growth rate. But again, we have to invest in agriculture. It is doable. We have a lot of space. In the conference, I was telling you that on average, we lose 35% of food production in waste. Greater waste management and storage would increase our production by 1/3. Number one. Number two, our value retention is very weak. On average, when you look at agricultural chains, the continent retain 15 to 20% only internally. 80% is gone outside the continent. So if we have internal transformations, we will do extremely well. We have fragmented in small markets, and we have the potential to expand the market through regional integration and cooperation. So that's the way to go. It is a business, and we need really to invest and incentivize that business to make it an engine for growth.
I want you to speak to the global dimension of what Africa is trying to achieve with its agricultural transformation program. And I get the sense that Africa is clearly left behind. Many countries have gone way ahead of Africa, and playing catch-up can be very difficult. And I just want to find out whether or not the opportunities still really exist, given where many other countries stand in terms of their agriculture and what they're doing in terms of selling to the world.
We can follow the great model that we have seen, like New Zealand. Like in New Zealand, when kids get out of school, they rush to be farmers. They don't rush to be civil servants or bankers, because the farm is a business. When you are a farmer, you get on average 3 times in revenues more than the average revenue. So we have to incentivize agriculture to make it a business, not a simple way of life, but a business. So for that, we have to invest on fertilizers. We have to invest on financial support to agriculture. We have to invest on education. We have to invest on infrastructure. That's why I really would like to salute the president of the World Bank, Professor Adesina, with his the high five of the African Development Bank, and having feeding Africa as at the heart of his strategy. So that's the way forward, because feeding Africa is not only a human right, it's not only a development imperative, it's not only a business case, as we said, it's also national security. Because we are not feeding our people that they are going across the Mediterranean. It's because we are not feeding our people that they have been used and recycled by the Boko Harams and the likes. So it is a win-win situation to invest in agriculture.
I just want you to speak to another very interesting and very pertinent point. This globalization issue, I'm coming back to it, yes. Whether or not we can play catch-up. Yeah. Because we see countries like Thailand, yes, and so many in Asia that are selling, yes, to the world. And it's a deliberate strategy. Yes. The big question I have is whether or not Africa can still compete.
It's a matter of will and a vision. If the will is there, the vision is there, the supporting institutions are there. If you build the developmental state to drive it, it is doable. The Singapores, the Taiwans, the China, that's the way to do it. But Africa also has to collectively fight what I call the asymmetry in the international trade market on agricultural issues. The asymmetry in subsidizing. It's not normal that countries like the US and countries in the EU are over-subsidizing their farmers, and we are not. In fact, we are taxing our farmers and subsidizing the urban sectors. So it's a double loss internally, because we are not subsidizing our farmers, and externally because the others are over-subsidizing the farmers. So this fight has to be done. It can't be done by a country alone. It has to be done collectively. It is a collective fight.
And finally, I just want you to speak to a regional agenda for agriculture. We've seen regions like East Africa really come together in terms of driving regional economic growth.
Yes.
We've seen perhaps less success in places like West Africa, but I want to get your thoughts on agriculture being the theme for regional integration of economy.
It has to be at the center. As I said earlier, the fragmentations of our markets will not make it. Imagine a country like Cote d'Ivoire and a country like Ghana working together and having the same export boards of cocoa and coffee. They have more than 70% or even 80% of the production. They have a controlling command. This is the commanding heights that they have to invest. So that's the way to go. Countries running alone will not make it.
And that was Abdoulaye Mar Dieye, Assistant Secretary General and Director, Regional Bureau for Africa.